On the approach to Camp 3 on Mount Everest, the climbing team was hit by a low-temperature blizzard. My girlfriend, the expedition leader, took my backup gear and, without a second thought, turned back down the mountain. She was rushing to the aid of her ex-boyfriend, the deputy leader, who had collapsed from hypoxia at the rest station behind us. She left me, a complete novice with no mountaineering experience, stranded on the trail. I eventually passed out from the cold and lack of oxygen on that vast, snowy mountain. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed, having been brought down by a rescue team. My right hand, dead from frostbite, had to be amputated. After the surgery, I called Morgan. Leo just came to. He's barely conscious. I can't leave him. Caleb, don't be so dramatic. Then she hung up. I stared at my bare right wrist, a chilling cold spreading through my chest. Morgan, slow down. Wait for me. Ice pellets hammered against my goggles with a sharp crackle. I screamed into the wind at Morgan's retreating figure, but she was already vanishing into the whiteout. The moment the call came over the radio that Leo, the deputy leader, had passed out from hypoxia, Morgan had spun around and started heading back toward Camp 2. No matter how much I yelled for her on the radio, she didn't slow down. Hypoxia is serious, she'd said, her voice clipped and professional. I'm the expedition leader, not your private guide. I'm responsible for every team member's life. Camp 3's rest station is just ahead. You can make it on your own. You won't get lost. With that, she turned off her radio, ignoring my frantic calls, and left me utterly alone in the raging blizzard. It was my first time on a mountain like this. I had zero experience. I was carrying only the bare essentials. My spare oxygen tank had been in her pack. When she left, she took my lifeline with her. She was the expert, and I had trusted her completely, so I hadn't hired a personal Sherpa guide before the climb. Now, I couldn't see a thing in the swirling snow. To make matters worse, I'd lost my right-hand trekking pole and glove in a fall. Breathing became a struggle. My body felt frozen solid, but my right hand was on fire. Finally, the world went black, and I lost consciousness. The next time I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital down in the valley. The blizzard was gone, replaced by the warm, gentle sunlight streaming through a window, making my eyes ache. I instinctively raised a hand to rub them, only to freeze in horror. My entire right wrist was wrapped in a thick ball of gauze. My hand was gone. A terrified scream tore from my throat, startling a nearby nurse, who rushed over to calm me. You're awake. You've been unconscious for 2 days. My hand? Where's my hand? Her eyes filled with pity. Your hand was exposed to extreme low temperatures for too long. The tissue was necrotic. If we hadn't amputated, you could have lost your entire arm. The personal locator beacon on your jacket saved you, she explained. The mountain rescue team received your heart rate alert. A team making their summit push was nearby, and they were able to get to you. After Morgan ditched me, she went straight back to Camp 2. Thank God I hadn't listened to her before the climb and had insisted on buying a PLB with a biometric monitor. If I hadn't, I'd probably be another frozen landmark on the way to the summit. With my one good hand, I managed to dial Morgan's number. She didn't pick up until the second call, her voice dripping with annoyance. Caleb, what could possibly be so important you have to call me right now? Leo's condition is still unstable after his hypoxia spell. I can't leave his side. I'm the team leader. I'm responsible for everyone. You're a grown man. Can you please stop being so needy and causing trouble for me? Morgan, the dial tone cut me off. I let the phone fall to my chest, feeling utterly defeated. 2. I spent 4 days in a private room at the hospital. Morgan never visited, not even once. Leo's room was in the same building as mine, but she stayed by his side the entire time. This whole climb wasn't just some whim of mine. Back home, my family's company, Vance Energy, had developed a new recyclable clean energy system. We wanted to launch a major marketing campaign, and it was Morgan who came to me with the idea. She said she could guide me up to Everest. If we could just get to Camp 3 and unfurl a company banner for a photo shoot, it would be a huge publicity win. It was a novel approach, something our company had never tried before. I was so sold on it that I ignored my dad's objections, greenlit the plan, and rushed off with Morgan on a flight to Kathmandu. Morgan was a seasoned mountaineer with tons of Everest experience. With her leading the way, what could possibly go wrong? It wasn't until I was lying in a hospital bed with one hand that I finally understood. In the entire Himalayan range, she was probably the most unreliable person I could have chosen. On the evening of my 6th day in hospital, my room door flew open and my dad stormed in, looking like he'd just stepped off a long-haul flight. I was sitting up in bed, and the sight of him sent a jolt of panic through me. He stood over me, his face a thundercloud of fury. "Dad," I croaked. He slapped me across the face hard. The force of it left my head ringing. "You idiot. This is what you call fine? This is your idea of being okay." He'd been tough on me my whole life, but this was different. This was pure rage. I was too scared to even breathe. "I'm sorry," I mumbled, looking down. I heard a thud. When I looked up, my dad was on his knees by my bed, his eyes fixed on my empty sleeve. "It's really gone?" he whispered, his voice trembling. "Your hand. It's really gone." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood, trying not to cry. "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry." He grabbed the empty fabric of my sleeve and pressed it to his face. His whole body shook with silent, gut-wrenching sobs. "You idiot," he choked out. "My stupid idiot son." 3. After battling through phantom limb pain and the frustrating process of relearning everything, I finally came to terms with the fact that I only had one hand. Once he was sure I was stable, Dad arranged for my discharge. Before leaving, I tried calling Morgan one last time. It went straight to voicemail. She blocked my number. I checked iMessage. She deleted me there, too. She always did this. She'd claim I had rich kid syndrome, and that she needed to sand down my rough edges so we could have a peaceful future together. Anytime I disagreed with her or talked back, she'd block me. She'd only unblock me when I came crawling back with an apology, or whenever she felt like it. Looking back, I can't believe how stupid I was to fall for her cheap emotional manipulation. From the moment I was rescued until now, she had been glued to Leo's side without a single thought for me. Since I couldn't reach her, I decided to stop trying. I packed my things and left the hospital. My condition meant I couldn't fly commercially for a while. We had to take a specialized medical transport flight to Denver, and then an RV for the rest of the way home to California. My dad was a nervous wreck the whole trip. He booked a private medical jet and hired 2 nurses for the drive, terrified that the long journey would cause complications. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and see him wide awake, just staring at the ceiling of the RV. He didn't relax until we pulled up to our house in Palo Alto and saw the team he'd arranged waiting for us. "You're still recovering?" he said. "The RV is more comfortable. We're in no rush." I didn't expect to hear from Morgan so soon, but on our first day on the road, she graciously unblocked my number. I saw her name flash on my screen. I glanced at my dad, whose expression was already hardening, and answered, feeling a knot of dread in my stomach. "What took you so long to answer?" Morgan's impatient voice crackled through the speaker. "Leo's feeling a little dizzy. I'm worried the drive will be too rough for him. Have your dad charter a private jet to pick us up from the airport here. And make sure it's staffed with 2 medical professionals. I need to be with him to make sure he's safe." The call was on speaker. I watched a vein pulse violently on my dad's forehead. "Morgan, we're done." "Oh, stop it. Don't pull this crap with me. I know how you get," she snapped. "Have the jet waiting for us the day after tomorrow. I'm going to stay with him for a bit, help him relax, and clear his head. Don't forget, day after tomorrow." She hung up before I could say another word. I lowered the phone, unable to meet my dad's gaze. I felt ashamed. He stared at me, his eyes drilling into me. "When you said you're done, did you mean it to piss her off? Or are you actually finished with her?" "Dad, are you kidding me? She left me to die on a mountain for another guy. Do you think I'm an idiot? Of course, I'm done with her." I held up my right arm. She didn't even care if I lived or died. I don't know her a damn thing. 4. My dad nodded slowly. "I was worried when you answered. I'm glad to hear you say that." He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "Greg, cut all of our annual sponsorship funding to the American Alpine Club. Effective immediately." "Yes, Mr. Vance. Right away." That evening, as we checked into a hotel, my dad's phone rang. "Hello. Who is this?" "Mr. Vance, hello. This is President Miller from the American Alpine Club." Well, President Miller. I was wondering what that god-awful screeching was all day. What hurricane blew you my way? To what do I owe the pleasure of a call from such a busy man?" The man on the other end was audibly trembling. "Mr. Vance, please don't say that. I was calling to ask why you suddenly pulled all of Vance Energy's sponsorship. As you know, the club is planning an expedition to K2 in the Karakoram Range. Without your funding, many of our members won't be able to afford the trip. Imagine how disappointed they'll be when they find out it's because you pulled your support. Disappointed? My dad scoffed. Why the hell would I care if any of you live or die? Go get a job screwing bolts in a factory. If you can't afford it, you have no business mountaineering. You want to know why I pulled the funding? Go ask that worthless bitch in your club named Morgan Reed. Ask her what she did to my son. He hung up, still fuming, and immediately dialed another number. Greg, post a notice on the company's official channels. Vance Energy will no longer do business with any company that sponsors the American Alpine Club, and any employee who is a member of that club is to be fired, effective immediately. The voice on the other end nearly cracked. But, Mr. Vance, I'm a member of the club. Please, sir. My dad rolled his eyes. You and every other leech have 1 week. Either you quit the club, or you pack your desk and get the hell out of my building. Understand? Understood. Quit the club, or get out. Good. Get done. 5. 3 days later, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered. It was Morgan. Caleb, what is wrong with you? Why did you block me? So, I paid more attention to a team member than to you. Is that it? Is your ego really that fragile? Who else would ever marry a spoiled brat like you? How dare you pull this stunt with me? Where's my jet? The airport staff said there's no private charter scheduled for us. And what's this President Miller is telling me about your dad canceling the sponsorship for the Alpine Club? I was on track to be appointed to the board of directors this year. Do you have any idea how this makes me look? You're trying to humiliate me. Listening to her tirade, I felt a wave of nausea. Morgan, I told you we're over. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. As for the sponsorship, it's my family's money. We'll give it to whoever we damn. Well, please, what business is it of yours? You on the board of directors? What kind of screwed up logic is that? A private jet. You can hitchhike back for all I care. I hung up and with one hand began to painstakingly type on my laptop. On the screen was a formal complaint, thousands of words long, regarding gross negligence and willful endangerment by expedition leader Morgan Reed, resulting in severe and permanent injury to a team client. She wanted to be on the board. She'd be lucky if she was ever allowed near a mountain again. I'd make damn sure she never worked in this industry again. 6. 5 days later, we finally made it home. My mom, Sharon, had already moved my bedroom from the second floor to the first for convenience. She'd also poached 2 of the best physical therapists from a top rehabilitation center to live with us. The moment I walked through the door, she saw my right wrist. She marched right up and slapped me. I guess I know where my dad gets it from. My dad peeked out from behind the doorframe. Honey, you hit him, so you can't hit me. Then my mom grabbed me, howling with tears, pounding on my back while unleashing a string of curses that would make a sailor blush. She nearly beat my lunch out of me. Okay, you hit me. You yelled at me. You can stop crying now, I said, patting her back gently with my left hand. If Mrs. Vance keeps this up, she's going to get crow's feet. I don't care, she sobbed, clutching my empty sleeve, tears streaming down her face. She looked up at me, her eyes fierce like a wolf protecting her cub. Where is that little bitch? We broke up. After what she did to me, you think I'd keep her around for Thanksgiving? My mom gritted her teeth so hard I could hear them grind. Breaking up is too good for her. After what she did to my son, she's going to pay. She pointed a finger at my dad. Honey, call our guys. I want to buy her 2 legs. Let's see how she climbs a mountain then. I quickly wrapped my arm around her. Mom, rule of law. We live in a society. Calm down. The world is a beautiful place, but you are being very, very angry right now. This is not good. Not good at all. 7. With the guidance of the professional therapists, I began the painstaking process of relearning how to do everyday things with one hand, like a toddler. After a lifetime with 2 hands, suddenly losing one made the simplest tasks incredibly complex and time-consuming. My right wrist had to become an anchor, a tool for leverage. Within days, the skin was raw and broken. It's normal, the therapist, a kind woman named Sarah, told me as she dressed the wound. It will break open and heal over and over. The scar tissue will thicken until it forms a callus. then it won't hurt anymore. I had to become independent. I couldn't rely on others for every little thing for the rest of my life. The hospital had preserved my amputated hand. It was sent back to me, encased in resin. I needed it nearby. It felt like the only way I could still be whole. I placed it in the safe in my bedroom. If anyone ever opens this safe, I thought, they're in for one hell of a surprise. I gave it a fist bump with my left hand. About a month later, Morgan and Leo showed up at our front door, furious. They had just gone back to find their mountaineering certifications revoked. The American Alpine Club had also issued a notice officially disbanding their expedition team and expelling all its members. My dad had gone even further. To prevent my mom from actually having their legs broken, he bought the climbing gym where they were both listed as instructors and promptly fired them. It was partly to get justice for me, and partly to placate my increasingly volatile mother. He'd found her search history on the study's computer. How to hire a hitman. Cheapest way to have someone's legs broken? Contract killer prices near me? Leave it to my famously frugal mother to shop for the best price, even on contract violence. I was in the living room, wearing a loose-fitting hoodie, arms crossed as I watched Morgan lose her mind. Just because I was taking care of Leo and didn't have time to visit you, you had to go and ruin my entire life? She screamed. Well, congratulations. I've been kicked out of the Alpine Club. I've lost my job. Are you happy now? Your family is loaded. You could hire 100 nurses. Did you really need me there? Leo was all alone. Do you have any idea how scared he was? I'm a team leader. I have a duty to ensure the safety of all my members. Their lives are my responsibility. I can't just revolve around you, do you understand? I was thankful my parents weren't home. Given her tone, I wasn't sure she would have walked out of this house in one piece. If you're the team leader, responsible for everyone's safety, then why weren't you responsible for mine? Leo had hypoxia. In those conditions, if it's not treated properly, it can lead to cerebral edema and brain death. You were fine. Of course, I had to prioritize him. Besides, you're my boyfriend. Shouldn't you be more supportive and understanding? And you haven't even visited Leo in the hospital once this entire time. He's got a big heart, so he's not holding it against you. But I brought him here today. You owe him an apology, and then we can put this all behind us. I laughed, a harsh, grating sound. I should apologize? What the hell do I owe him? I pointed my left hand at Leo, who was standing behind her. Is he missing an arm? A leg? He's standing here perfectly fine, isn't he? Morgan jumped in front of Leo as if my finger was a loaded gun. Don't you point at him. It's rude. Leo finally spoke, his voice dripping with condescension. It's okay, Morgan. I can see Mr. Vance is still upset. Let's not let this come between you two. He looked at me with an expression of pure disdain. Mr. Vance, don't worry about it. I'm fine now. You don't need to apologize to me. Apologize to you? You got a hell of a nerve. You were the deputy leader, an experienced mountaineer, and you collapsed from hypoxia? You're even more useless than a beginner like me. They were right to revoke your certification. A liability like you would have gotten other people killed sooner or later. You have no business being on a mountain. You probably shouldn't even wear platform shoes. That's enough, Morgan shouted, standing protectively in front of Leo. Listen to yourself, Caleb. You're being completely unreasonable. You weren't even hurt. What gives you the right to talk to Leo like that? Not hurt. I roared with laughter. Morgan, do you want to know why you lost your mountaineering certification? I yanked up the sleeve of my right arm. Because of this. 8. The hoodie sleeve fell away, revealing my bare, wrinkled wrist. Holy shit, Leo breathed, his eyes wide with disbelief as he stared at my arm. Morgan's gaze was frozen on my wrist. What? What happened to you? Didn't you read the notice from the Alpine Club? She shook her head. No, I got the call that, Leo, and I were expelled as soon as we got off the train. I knew you or your father had to be behind it, so I brought Leo straight here. Her eyes darted from my face to my wrist, and a flicker of understanding crossed her face. Did this happen? During the climb? What do you think? That I cut off my own hand just to frame you? Morgan, you left me, a total beginner, on that mountain for your ex-boyfriend. You didn't even leave me my backup oxygen. How is that any different from attempted murder? Don't play dumb with me. He woke up as soon as he got back to Camp 2, and there were plenty of people there. Are you telling me you're a better medic than the actual doctors at the camp? Caleb, I cut her off before she could start her explanation. You just what? You just don't care about me. Even after he dumped you, you still care more about him than me. Because I was just the rich idiot who could bankroll your career, right? I was carried off that mountain, and you didn't even bother to check if I was alive. How dare you stand there and say those things to me? She shook her head frantically. No, it's not like that. Let me explain. What is there to explain? That you held a bedside vigil for your ex-boyfriend? Or that you'd rather go shopping with him than visit me in the hospital? It's been weeks, and you're only just now realizing I'm missing a hand. What do you take me for? Morgan was speechless. She let out a long, defeated sigh. I'd seen her pull that move 100 times. It was her go-to whenever she knew she was wrong, but refused to admit it. It was her way of saying, I'm done. Say what you want, think what you want. I'm not explaining anything. Leo, her loyal defender, spoke up from behind her. Even if Morgan neglected you because of me, you're her boyfriend. Why can't you be more understanding? She's the team leader. She's responsible for a lot of people. She can't just focus on you. And you reporting us. Do you have any idea how serious this is? If this investigation finds us at fault, we could lose our climbing certifications for life. You're destroying my entire life's ambition. You only lost a hand. We're losing the one thing we've worked our entire lives for. How can you be so cruel? A spark of inspiration lit up Morgan's eyes. That's right. You weren't even an official member of the expedition. You were just my boyfriend. I had no professional obligation to be responsible for your safety. I seriously started to wonder if she'd put some kind of spell on me before. How could I have been so devoted to someone who could say something so monstrous without a trace of shame? A new voice cut through the tension. Then what was the purpose of your expedition? The front door swung open. My dad stood there, his eyes burning with a look that could kill. 9. He walked into the house, followed by 4 large men in black suits. My dad came and sat next to me on the sofa. The 4 human walls in suits fanned out, standing silently behind Morgan and Leo. I'm going to ask you one more time, my dad said, his voice dangerously low. What was the objective of this expedition? Mr. Vance? Don't call me Mr. Vance, he snarled. I don't associate with heartless, ungrateful parasites. Now, answer my question. Surrounded by my dad's security detail, Morgan began to tremble. I heard her swallow hard. It was to assist a representative of Vance Energy in reaching Camp 3 on Mount Everest and to facilitate the filming of a commercial. And who funded this expedition? Sweat beaded on Morgan's forehead. You did, sir, she whispered. Vance Energy. My dad nodded. My son wasn't a member of your team. He was your client. I paid you a great deal of money to take my son up that mountain. Was leaving him there to die part of the contract? No, sir. Mr. Vance, please, let me explain. I was panicking. I never imagined something so serious would happen to Caleb. I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. Don't worry, I will take full responsibility for Caleb. I won't hold his disability against him, I swear. I will be good to him for the rest of my life. Please just HH. She didn't finish her sentence. My dad had snatched a heavy glass vase from the coffee table and hurled it at the floor in front of her. It exploded into 1,000 pieces. Morgan shrieked and stumbled backward, collapsing into Leo's arms. I paid you to protect my son, not to get him killed, my dad roared. If my son didn't like you, do you have any idea what you'd be? Nothing. And you dare to dream? My son could marry anyone in the world, but he will never marry a piece of trash like you. His gaze shifted to Leo, who had frozen in terror. Seeing my dad looking at him, Leo started to babble. Mr. Vance, this has nothing to do with me. I had hypoxia. I was unconscious. I don't know anything. Please, you're a powerful man. Just let me go. My dad snorted. Trash recognizes trash. He gestured to his security team with a flick of his chin. Beat them. Don't kill them. Then strip them and throw them out. Yes, sir. 10. A video of Morgan and Leo, stripped down to their underwear, being thrown out of the Vance family mansion, went viral. In the clip, the 2 of them, bruised and battered, were unceremoniously tossed out the front door by 4 imposing men in black suits. It was the picture of humiliation. Immediately, my family and Vance Energy were at the center of a social media firestorm. See, this is what happens when regular people cross the mega-rich. They think they can do whatever they want to us. They strip them of their clothes? That's just cruel. They say money can't buy class. Case in point, a few sane voices suggested there might be more to the story. but they were quickly drowned out. They must have done something to provoke them. A family like the Van Cess wouldn't just attack two young people for no reason. That's no excuse for assault and stripping them. This is America, not some feudal kingdom. You have a problem, you call the cops. What is this, the 1800s? Rich people don't get to operate outside the law. Hashtag boycott Vance Energy. Don't buy their products. As the online narrative turned sharply against my family, Morgan called me and asked to meet. We met in a quiet lounge at the Four Seasons. Morgan was wearing a striking red dress, a smug look on her face as she sipped her tea. "Caleb, I know I wasn't entirely blameless in this situation," she began. "But are you really going to say you did nothing wrong? If you hadn't been so petty, if you had just tried to be a little more understanding, we wouldn't be here. And you wouldn't have lost your hand. Now, the whole internet is against your family. Honestly, it's hard for me to watch." She put on a pained, magnanimous expression. "I can release a public statement. I'll say that my intense sense of duty made me neglect you, which led to a misunderstanding between us. I'll say the misunderstanding has been cleared up, and I'll ask everyone to continue supporting Vance Energy. Caleb, as long as you're not mad at me anymore, as long as we can go back to how things were, I don't mind being the bad guy for you." Even now, she still thought I was the same naive pushover she could manipulate with a few pretty words, that I just pull her back into my arms and let her lead me around by the nose. I shook my head. "No, thank you. I've already prepared a full account of what happened. I'll be posting it online later to clarify the situation. Once people know the truth, this will all blow over. I appreciate the offer, but I won't need your help." Her face fell. She shot to her feet. "Clarify what? Do you know what will happen to me if you release the full story? I'll be finished. I already feel so guilty that you lost your hand. Your pain is my pain. Haven't I been punished enough? Why do you have to back me into a corner?" I looked her straight in the eye. "Morgan, when you left me on that mountain, I screamed for you on the radio. I begged you to wait for me. And what did you do? You got annoyed and turned your radio off. Weren't you backing me into a corner then? Weren't you leaving me to die? If I had listened to you and not bought that PLB, I'd be a block of ice right now." She sank back in her chair, defeated. "It's been so long. What happened, happened. What's the point of dwelling on the past?" "There is no point," I said coldly, "except that watching you two suffer brings me an immense amount of joy. Don't worry, you both have a lifetime to regret what you did. We could take this nice and slow." As I stood to leave, she jumped up and grabbed my arm. "What does this have to do with Leo? He was unconscious. He couldn't control it. Stop trying to blame him for your mistakes." She realized she was gripping my right arm, my amputated arm, and quickly let go, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. "This is my fault," she said, her voice softening. "I'll atone for it. But don't blame Leo. He didn't know anything." "He didn't know anything?" I pulled my phone from my pocket, opened the audio player, and pressed play. Leo's voice filled the quiet lounge. 11. "That asshole thinks he's so great because he has a little money. I'm going to teach him a lesson. In a bit, you guys tell Morgan I passed out from hypoxia. Tell her to come rescue me. You just watch. That woman will drop that idiot in a second and come running back to me. And you all better make it look convincing. Don't let her see through it. If any of you snitch, you'll never work another expedition again." Leo's venomous words echoed in the silence. Why does she get to land some rich kid after dumping me, while I'm stuck with some old hag paying my bills? It's not fair. The recording ended. Morgan was completely stunned, her eyes wide and vacant. "Where? Where did you get this?" She stammered. "From one of your loyal team members. Apparently, she's even more obsessed with Leo than you are. Oh, and by the way, she also mentioned that Leo has slept with every woman on the team except her. He wouldn't even touch her. So, she secretly recorded that conversation at Camp 2 to get back at him." Morgan looked like she'd been struck by lightning. "Caleb, I'm sorry. I had no idea he would do something like that. My relationship with him now is purely platonic. We're just friends, I swear. You have to believe me." I roll my eyes. "I don't care what your relationship with him is. You and I aren't even friends. I'm posting the clarification, and I'm including this recording. And according to the contract our lawyers drew up, Vance Energy hired your team for a commercial expedition. Not only did you fail to complete the objective, but your gross negligence led to my irreversible injury. I will be seeking full damages. I put my phone away and patted her shoulder with my left hand. I'd lay low for a while if I were you. My mother is calling in every favor she has to ruin both of you. Good luck. 12. I hired a freelance journalist to write up the entire story from start to finish, spicing it up just enough to make it go viral. We published it online along with Leo's audio recording. The American Alpine Club immediately reposted it with a statement of their own, announcing that not only were all members of that expedition team permanently banned, but their files were being sent to every major climbing organization in the world. They would never climb professionally again. This time, the internet's verdict was swift and unanimous. This guy must have blown up a planet in a past life to end up with a girlfriend like that. They're playing jealous games at 26,000 feet. Altitude doesn't stop scumbag from being scumbags, I guess. This is literally attempted murder. How are they not in jail? What do you even call this? It's next-level psycho. Imagine hiring people for your safety, and you're just a pawn in their twisted romantic drama. Terrifying. Thanks, I hate them. The second-hand cringe is making me physically ill. The online mob descended on Morgan and Leo like a hurricane. Someone doxed them, posting their home addresses online, and then their real nightmare began. Their front doors were repeatedly vandalized with paint. Their locks were filled with superglue. The windows of Leo's house were smashed daily. Morgan lived in a high-rise, which offered some protection, but every time she got in the elevator, it would mysteriously break down between floors. Eventually, she was forced to take the stairs to her 18th-floor apartment every day. But for a professional mountaineer, that was just a light workout. The online harassment was just the appetizer. The main course was the lawsuit. To make sure I got my pound of flesh, my dad brought Vance Energy's entire corporate law department to court. On the day of the hearing, Morgan saw me walk in, followed by a veritable army of sharp-suited lawyers pushing a dolly stacked with boxes of evidence. The color drained from her face. Leo wasn't there to see the spectacle. He had refused to appear in court and had gone off the grid. Before the proceedings began, Morgan approached me, desperate. "Caleb, I know you still care about me. I'm so sorry, I really am. Please, can you drop the lawsuit? I'll do anything you want, just drop the suit." "Anything? You do anything I ask." Morgan nodded solemnly. "Okay, cut off your own hand. You do that, and I'll drop the lawsuit." Her face turned to ash. I can't. What good is I'm sorry?" I shot back. "Can your apology make my hand grow back? Can it erase the fact that you left me to die?" I walked past her. "It's too late, Morgan. I don't want your empty apologies. I just want you to feel what I felt." 13. The trial was a slaughter. The court found Morgan primarily liable for the incident and ordered her to pay me $530,000 in damages. Leo was found secondarily liable and ordered to pay $310,000. The American Alpine Club was held responsible for negligent oversight and had to pay $120,000. Furthermore, due to their extreme professional misconduct during their contract with Vance Energy, the court ordered Morgan and Leo to pay a breach of contract penalty totaling $48 million. On the day the court marshals arrived to enforce the judgment and seize his assets, the fugitive Leo suddenly reappeared. He tried to fight the officers to stop them from taking his house and ended up stabbing one of them with a knife. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison for aggravated assault on a federal officer. My mother found the families of his cellmates and generously asked them to take good care of him on the inside. I heard later that he was injured in prison and qualified for medical parole, but that he would have to be fed through a straw for the rest of his life. After that, I stopped following his story. Burdened with overwhelming debt, Morgan had all of her personal assets seized and auctioned off. Destitute, she found a job as a rock climbing instructor at a local gym. The pay was low, but it was enough to survive. Her luck didn't last. She got into a fight with several clients during a class and was sent to the hospital. The tendons in her right arm were severely damaged. She couldn't even lift it parallel to the ground. The gym fired her. With her physical limitations, she couldn't find much work. She ended up on public assistance, taking a job as a city sanitation worker, scraping by on a meager salary of just over $1,000 a month. 14. At the annual Vance Energy product launch, my dad, on stage, made a surprise announcement. He declared that the company would be expanding into the field of medical bionics, pioneering a new market. Furthermore, he continued, all research and patents developed by Vance Energy in the field of medical bionics will be made available, free of charge, to all medical institutions and research laboratories. We will not charge a single cent. During the Q&A, a reporter asked, what inspired Vance Energy to move into the bionics field? And what was the motivation behind making this a philanthropic endeavor? What moved you to make such a decision? My dad stood tall on the stage, bathed in the bright lights, looking like an invincible giant. He looked out into the audience, his eyes finding mine. His expression softened. Because a parent's greatest wish, he said, his voice full of warmth, is to see their child healthy and happy. To see them run free, like the wind, unburdened and unbound.